What? Job satisfaction, which keeps your behavior at the highest frequency, intensity, and duration that you could possibly have. Those people that have that love their jobs. The people that don't, they hate their jobs. They're complaining. And you find out, look at the reinforcement they're exposed to. Patty said something yesterday I got a kick out of. How many people here are suffering from a severe lack of over-reinforcement? You've been hugged too much and given too much praise? Been told how good you are too much? No, that doesn't happen. You don't get sick of that. You do get sick of being told how ineffective you are and how badly you're doing and how much improvement you need. That gets a little old after a while, doesn't it? And what happens to your attitude? It starts to sink. You start hating to go places. You start feeling bad about yourself. Praise and reinforcement is a wonderful thing. It is a very, very powerful tool. And if that's all you do, if that's all you get out of this weekend, you think about reinforcing your animals. And not just the old good, very good, that was wonderful. Be animated. Be energetic. Those of you who work with kindergartners, your dogs are kindergartners, okay? You can't lecture them in an 8-hour lecture like college students. They won't ever get to that point. Your dogs are kindergartners. You've got to be active with them. You've got to move with them, all right? And then over time, that pays off. Remember, with reinforcement theory, the time is put in the beginning, and you spend less time later on. With correction theory, you spend very little time fixing your problems in the beginning, and you create a lot of fear and pain and anxiety and frustration. And a couple years later on, your dog is gone. He's either run away, he's got all kinds of behavior problems, or you're buying yourself a new dog because you want to compete on a higher level, and your dog can't take it anymore. A couple things from yesterday. Eye contact before a signal, folks. Eye contact before a signal. I see a lot of signals being given yesterday, not from our esteemed colleagues back there, but in talking with some people in between the sessions, I saw a lot of hand signals and a lot of verbals that were given while the dog was looking down here, looking up there, sniffing around. His concentration is not on you. If you don't have eye contact, and the best in the world that I have seen in training eye contact is Patty Russo. The best I've ever seen at it. And if you don't train, if that's the first behavior you train, the rest is going to be a piece of cake. Don't rush ahead to the end product. Train those foundation behaviors, and eye contact is critical. If you have that, you've solved 99% of your problems. And we could talk about proactive behavior management and give you big fancy outlines, but just do that, okay? All right. Now, one more thing. I want to talk about some two-trainer switches I saw yesterday. When you're working with two trainers and you're using food reinforcement, which we'll talk about when to get away from food reinforcement, but remember, food is much more important, even more important than sex. That's why cookbooks outsell sex books 3 to 1, because you eat 3 meals a day, okay? So remember that. It's very important. But when you use food and two trainers, probably the trainer who is going to take control, establish control by giving a little treat. It's awfully confusing for the dog to get a treat from this guy and then have to go over to this guy and it's like, but you have the food. And you get a real break in control there and some confusion on the animal. So you want to try and do that with a little cleaner purpose when you do this, okay? Another thing I saw yesterday, pay attention to your animal. I see so many people, they'll ask for a behavior and then they will quit paying attention to the animal while they're talking. Keep your eye on your animal, and that's where the animal begins to drift around. All right? And finally, shut up a little bit, will you? Talk after your dog does something good. But while he's trying to hear the cue, if you're blabbing on and on and on, and then you say sit down, and then you keep talking like this, and you're talking to your friends, and down, I said down, sit down, why don't you? It becomes all mushed in there. And it's hard for the dog to discern which one of those verbal cues is the one he should be paying attention to. Now, why do we think that communication with animals is so simple? It is not. Let's simplify it. Simplify it. Keep your verbal communication precise, simple, consistent. After they give you what you want, then you can talk. But when you're going to give the next cue, be quiet for a minute. Okay. We want to use 3 simple steps. We want to give a signal, we want to wait for the response, and then we want to reinforce it. This is called antecedent behavior and consequences. Many trainers are now talking about A, B, C, antecedent behavior and consequences. Nothing I invented. It's the label that science has given to those components of learning. We all learn using the same three components, every one of us. You give a signal, it's either verbal or visual or your body language, or in some cases the context. Some of the work Dr. Dave Riccio at Kent State University has been doing is showing the effects of learning in context. And just this building, just the show ring, just the vet's office, just your garage, just your house can provide the signal for a behavior to occur, wanted or unwanted. Okay? Walking into the vet office can cause the behavior of shivering that can then be reinforced by, oh, you poor baby, we feel so sorry for you, or punished by a thermometer in the rectum, right?